One of the biggest questions I get from inventors is, when should I do my first trade show? It's not an easy decision. Trade shows are expensive and you're putting yourself out there. In this video, I want to give you 2 questions to ask yourself before you make that decision, 5 ways to know that you're ready, and 1 thing I know that you're not ready for. So let's get into it right now. First things first, I am fresh back from Key West, visited the hat store, La Rubia. Awesome place, worth the trip. I'll put a link in the description. She is worth going out of your way to see. That's where I get these great hats. All right, so the trade show. There are 2 key questions you need to ask yourself before you decide on any trade show. And I heard this one years ago. One of the best salespeople I ever met said, there's just one rule for trade shows. Are your customers there? And it sounds easy. Well, of course customers are there, but that's not always the case. A lot of trade shows that I see come across my desk that my clients ask me about are basically places where there are more sellers than buyers. What do I mean by that? A lot of trade shows are specifically just for trade industry people. So you'll have a whole trade show full of other people like you. Let's say you go to a software trade show and it's just other people who are developing software. That's fine, but you're only going to get feedback from other people who are developing software. The key reason is you're going to get the feedback that you need from real customers. It gives you the opportunity to sell your product out there. So make sure that there are customers there. How do you decide if there are going to be customers there? That's the second question you need to ask. Have you walked the floor? Usually trade shows are annual events. So what I would tell you is, if you haven't walked the floor the year before, it's going to be very risky for you to go to that show. You won't know what the tone is. You're not going to know when the busy times are. You're not going to know what types of competitors and other vendors are there. You can't trust what the organizers are going to tell you in the prospectus. It just isn't the same. Anytime you talk with someone, their job is not to help you succeed. Their job is to get you to sign up as an exhibitor. Now, let's say that trade show is coming up in 3 months and you don't really have a good sense for that and you really don't want to miss this opportunity. Well, ask to talk with other people who have walked the floor, who have been there in the past. Look at the exhibitor list, reach out to them on LinkedIn or via email and ask to talk with them about the show. Most of the time, you might be surprised at how easy it is to reach someone who was in the marketing department at a company who's there, maybe someone at about your size, your type of company, and say, hey, Jason, what did you think about that? Would you go back? You're obviously exhibiting. You've exhibited multiple times. What was it like? What should I be prepared for? Again, the best way to get that information is directly from those people on the trade show floor as you walk around it yourself. But if you can't do that, talk to someone who is there. So those are your first 2 questions to ask. Are the customers there? And do you have direct experience with that show by personal firsthand experience or by talking with someone else? Here are the 5 signs that you are ready to go to that show. Even if the first 2 questions are positive, you still need to be ready. Number 1, are you ready to invest enough money to be there? And here's what I mean by that. Just being able to get into the show, get the tiniest booth in the way back corner, it's the only one you can afford. Well, that's fine, but if no one goes back by the restrooms way in the back corner, that's not going to give you the kind of exposure that you really want. Better to go to a smaller show where you can invest enough to be right in the main area where everybody's walking. You want to make sure that you can get a spot there rather than tucked way back in the corner. And if you've ever been to trade shows before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's always places where people tend to congregate, and then places that are just way out of the way. You want to make sure you are right in the thick of things. That is critical. Question number 2, you need to be ready to demo. And what do I mean by that? You need to be ready to take your product up and talk to anybody about it. You need a quick way to describe it. You need a quick way to get people engaged. You need to practice that in advance. So any opportunity you have, any local fairs, any kind of local meet and greets, make sure you have practiced and refined your demo. I hear a lot of folks on the Inventor forums talking about how they want somebody else to do the sales and marketing for them. Don't get caught up in that. Even if you hire sales and marketing later, if you outsource all of that to them and you've never actually demoed the product yourself, you've never actually heard someone tell you that they don't get it, you are not ready to hire someone for sales and marketing. You're going to overpay for that person. You need to be the person who gets up there and knows how to do that demo in front of a complete stranger. Practice it, be ready. If you're not ready for that, you're going to waste your money. Question number 3, you need to be ready to fulfill. Here's the thing, most people are thinking about the expense and the nervousness and the anxiety of getting up in front of people, paying that bill. What they're not prepared for is, holy crap, a lot of people want this. You need to be ready with supply that either you can sell right there at the show, if they allow that and if that makes sense for you, or that you can take orders and fulfill within a reasonable amount of time. This is critical, and a lot of inventors mess this up. They go to the show and they're not quite ready. The product's not quite ready, or they're still in QA. You don't want to make that mistake of not being ready to fulfill when you've invested so much in time and treasure to be there. 4th question, you need to be ready for competitors. A lot of inventors want to be the only one there, and they feel like, hey, I'm the only one on the floor. People will come to me because I'm the only one doing it here. That's a mistake. When you're in a room with competition, it creates legitimacy in the customer's mind. They're not anxious about the other competitors. They feel like they've got choices. So if there are 3 other competitors with you, the customer has 4 choices. And they can start to think about, well, how do I differentiate against this one? Which one best meets my needs? Don't be afraid of competition. Actually look for shows where your competitors will be there. They are going to make your job easier, not harder. But you do need to be ready. You need to make sure you fully understand the products or services that are going to be there that are in direct competition with you, so that you know how to talk about them in a transparent, open, and not putting down sort of way. You want to be able to help that customer understand what the best product is for them, even if it's not yours. You'd be surprised how many are going to come back because people appreciate the transparency and the honesty. 5th and final question. You need to be ready to engage supply chain partners and who I call cooperators. At the show, don't be surprised if people approach you not as customers, but as potential supply chain partners, people who want to supply you parts, people who want to distribute or sell your product, other products that may coordinate with yours. So let's say you are making a tool, there might be a cooperator there who makes a toolbox. Does your tool fit in their toolbox? You can see where there could be collaborative opportunities there in the future. You need to be ready for those conversations. My recommendation is that you are looking at the exhibitor list, identifying who those people might be so that you're ready when they come and approach you, or you can choose to go and approach them during the breaks. Now, finally, I promised you one thing that you weren't ready for. Here's what it is. You're not going to be ready for honest feedback. What do I mean by honest feedback? Your product sucks. Why on earth did you design it that way? What are you thinking? Why are you here? Not everyone's going to like your product. And frankly, that can be some of the hardest feedback to hear, is that they don't get it, they don't like the color, they don't like the packaging, they don't like something about what you've done. Here's the thing. Yes, that is going to be very difficult to hear, but you absolutely need to hear it. It's one of the best things about a trade show is you are going to get dozens of opportunities to pitch your product and get real feedback. What I would recommend is jotting down that feedback just as it is over the course of the show. That way, you can start to decide, hey, is this legitimate feedback that I need to be thinking about? Or is this feedback because it's not the right use case for that customer? Sometimes it's okay. People say, well, I don't really like it. Well, if you weren't the ideal customer for it and they don't like it, that's actually really good feedback. It's going to help you in your pitch. It's going to help you in your marketing. It's going to help you in your packaging. It's going to help you really refine who that target customer is. So that's it for this video. What trade show are you thinking about? Put a link down in the comments, and what I'll do is I will help you walk through it. Let's walk through it on a video together. We'll actually look at the show map, figure out where you should be, take a look at the exhibitor list and who you want to talk to. So send me a direct message and we'll do a video together and figure out if you should go to that show. Until then, see you on the next one.